Hey guys, Darius here, and today I'm going to be restoring my original Game Boy Advance SP. As you can see, the front light isn't very readable, so I'm going to upgrade it to an IPS V2, replace the existing battery. As you can see, when I pull it out, this one's a little bit fat. Just over time, these batteries tend to expand, and they don't hold much of a charge either. I'm going to take out the screws on the outside. These are tri-wing screws, one on each corner, one under the battery tray, and one in the cartridge slot. Once I get these out, I'm just going to pop the back off, expose the motherboard. There's 3 screws in the motherboard I'll take out in a minute. I'm taking out these triggers. I'm going to use the OEM springs and triggers. And these springs and triggers from the white shell. Actually, my original shell was the blue shell that you saw at the beginning of the video. I put all my OEM parts into this white shell. That's not an original. A few weeks back. But I didn't really like the way it looked, and since I'm doing the screen mod anyways, I'm going to be changing the shell over to a smoke black. So now that I got the screws out of there, I take off the back plate, finally unscrew the motherboard, and then there's a ribbon clip underneath the motherboard that attaches the screen. I'm going to pop out those 2 security clips on the sides of the ribbon cable and gently pull it out. The ribbon cable is pretty fragile, so you want to be careful when you're doing this. Flip it back over, drop the speaker out, take out the buttons and the membranes. Those are all the OEM ones I'm going to put back into the new shell. After you've done that, there's a small screw that's holding in a bracket, a hinge bracket. Take that screw out, the hinge bracket will fall off, as you can see right there. And the way that the ribbon cable is angled, you can tilt it diagonally and gently slide it out of the slot there, and just kind of pop out the other side, and then you can gently take it out the hinge. All this stuff gently, because that ribbon cable, like I said, is pretty fragile. These hinges, they gave me a lot of trouble, but basically I've got a little spudger there you can put underneath the hinges and apply a little bit of force to the center of the hinge and it'll pop right out, and then again on the other side. But you can see on that hinge it's being a little bit more difficult. So even though I'm applying quite a bit of force to it, it takes a lot to get out, and it snaps one of the retaining clips that's on the hinge. So I'm going to show you a little bit more detail here how to install the new hinges. And I actually ended up ordering new hinges because these hinges, the retaining clips, are all broken. There's 4 of them typically. I also had problems with the non-OEM caps fitting on the hinges. This is an OEM hinge, but on the non-OEM hinges, the caps don't fit exactly like they would if it was OEM. So I had to shave it down in there a little bit. Once shaved down, it would fit, though, on the OEM hinges and on the non-OEM ones. As you can see, there's those little slots. They line up to the slots in the hinge. With it closed, just push it in about halfway until you hear a little click. The cap will still be sitting out of the shell. Then open it up and find the sweet spot where you can finish pushing the hinge into the shell, and again you'll hear another click. So just open it up, move the position around a little bit, and apply some pressure until it clicks. There we go. And once you've got that side, you want to come back over to the other side. You get a nice clean click when it comes up and a click when it comes down. Now I'll put the cap on the other hinge. Again, these are the OEM hinges, so I'm going to be using non-OEM ones, but I'm going to skip over that in the rest of the video. Line it up. Push it. Open it up. Play around with the positioning a little bit. And finish clicking it in. There we go. So I just used the white shell to demonstrate the hinge installation because it was a little bit of a tricky part. Back to the rest of the video. And take off that top part of the shell. Take off the very bottom of the shell. Again, I've got the top inside of the shell with the buttons, the membranes. These are the glow-in-the-dark ones that come with the shell from God of Gaming on eBay. I bought these. Like I said, I'm going to use their original buttons and triggers and membranes, so I took out the old ones. Just kind of seeing how that one looks. Looks nice. I'll save those for a future modification or future video. The LED light indicator on the side just need to be trimmed up a little bit, so I took the clippers to it and trimmed it. With the hinges installed in the top part of the shell, I'm going to now install the IPS screen. I got some double-sided tape. Double-sided tapes to hold down the PCB that attaches to the IPS screen. You probably don't have to use a double-sided tape to attach that PCB, but make sure you do use that film that goes on the back of the IPS screen. With the PCB set down, you just insert the connector, click in, and then we can button up the screen with the provided screws. There we go. Put the guards in, or the caps in. And there's no adhesive on the new caps, you just kind of press them in there and they shouldn't go anywhere unintentionally. Right now I'm soldering a small cable to the end of the cable on the IPS, the ribbon cable on the new IPS display, and that's going to be soldered to the board to allow for brightness control, and it's actually got 10 levels of brightness control. Button the bottom up again. And everything's looking nice. You can see that red cable running. Just be careful where it runs, because if it goes underneath those membranes or the buttons, you may have trouble clicking the buttons. Here's the new 850 milliamp hour battery. Screw in the battery door. Place the new sticker. Sorry if it's out of focus there for a moment. It's getting it nice and lined up. Pressing it down and playing some Metroid Zero Mission. And there we go. As you can see, it's a lot brighter than the original front display on the AGS001. 10 levels of brightness control, even at the lowest setting, or even if you didn't install the brightness control, it gets very bright. you'd be okay if you didn't install a brand new controller, but it is nice to have that because at night it's also very bright. We're going to close it up. Thank you for watching the video. This is my original Game Boy Advance SP from childhood. I'm looking forward to doing some videos in the future, so stay tuned for some of those. Thanks for watching.